And we are going to be underway here in just a moment as we head into game number 1. Well, we are just about ready as we get this game underway. It will be SPT. It will be on the left in blue here. Your number 1 Chinese representatives is we'll take just one moment before we do head into game as we have a minor issue we're going to take a look at.
Yeah, I think there was something with the hotkeys here, but from what I can tell, the player has already fixed that, so we should head into this any second right now. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Again, the early game is maybe going to be a little bit rough for SPT. If they can find kills, it would be fantastic. The triple melee setup is definitely going to shield Junkrat on the side of Team Blossom. It's going to be the most important part here. And on the wave clear side, we're definitely seeing the Koreans with a bit of an advantage.
All right, we are ready here as that has been taken care of, and it is time to start game number 1. Again, your number 1 team out of China here is going to be SPT on the left in blue. And, of course, the number 1 player that we'll be looking at is going to be Misaka on that front line, seeing what he can do on that Muradin, but Melody C most notably on that Zeratul.
Yeah, Melody C is going to have, there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulder right now, a lot of pressure to really make the plays here. Whereas when we're looking over to the other side, of course, we're also looking again onto Diablo. It's all about having the engagers and really being able to engage into these fights and create the opportunities for the rest of the team.
Honkono says, look, I don't have many souls. It doesn't take much for me to take about 25% of my life, but Diablo, one of his better stacking maps in terms of the PvE, but we know since rework, Diablo, obviously much easier, especially with that W build that we've seen so prominent in competitive play. Also going Feast on Fear to make sure he gets more of that healing when he does get those stuns. And I'm assuming the Spider Queen, a lot of walls, a lot of terrain you can bank those heroes into.
Consume Vitality taken for Leoric on the level 1 talents, and no Austin's renewal for him here. More so the Chinese style here than what we're normally seeing out of Korea. But also, again, the stacking process for Muradin, and that can really help later on trying to confirm one of these kills with a bit of extra damage. But in the early game, I'm personally really curious to see how is SPT going to run these rotations here, or how are they going to be able to stop Blossom from turning in early.
Yeah, one of the things that Snitch mentioned was trying to control that bot lane. Just looking at the minimap, you can already see Zeratul made his presence felt in the bottom lane as the rotation's top-bottom, but see Blossom getting an early camp out of the way. That's going to get started on the other side as well for SPT. So both teams seeing if they can establish some control, maybe get some early structure damage in that mid lane to prep the first web weavers, whoever gets that first turn in.
What we're seeing for now is Displays holding the bot lane. We're actually having Deckard also, in general, both of the teams heading straight for the mercenary camps here, trying to create a bit more pressure through the mid lane. But as expected, that Zeratul currently up at the top. I would still like to see some rotations of Zeratul, trying to see if he can maybe jump onto that bot lane every now and then, put some pressure onto Blaze here. Because for Leoric, that's in the long run a losing matchup, especially if he starts like missing out on a few of the drains. So whenever Zeratul comes down and puts the pressure onto Blaze, you take some of that pressure from Leoric himself, and it allows him to push out farther.
Well, there's some zone control. There's going to be a concussion mine. That's going to knock a few members up, and that's going to be Jimmy Rayner here as first blood. It's a nice heads-up play there with the start by Merryday. We know him in his past to be the playmaking support. There, he makes sure to get the root and the follow-up there to get the first kill.
Yeah, it was a really, really nice push that we saw in the mid lane, and it was just Blossom jumping with 5 heroes into the middle, getting the kill, nearly getting the second one against Leoric too, and they already broke through the gate. So it's really all about trying to prepare the gates and the waves for the first web weavers. If you can just snowball that process of securing a few structures for yourself, then you're going to get more and more value out of the first objective, and that's what Blossom is clearly aiming for here.
Right now, neither team getting much in the way of turn-in. Only 6 jumps turned in on the side of SPT, but nearing the total amount needed is both teams. We'll see who can establish control. Again, getting that zoning control over that is one of the things that does allow you, especially with those grenades, the Junkrat of that nature, allows you to poke down.
I really like the attempt here from Honkono and Gonda on the Diablo and Thrall combo to get a good lockdown against Muradin, and just after Diablo moves in, get the Wolf connected and try to push more damage onto the front line of SPT. It didn't quite work out for them, but if they coordinate that well in those engages, you can really start to pressure Muradin very heavily. And especially in the later stage of the game, you have the potential of Thrall specking into the Alpha Wolf. That would definitely threaten Muradin a lot. That would make it maybe even to a point where you need to fire an Ancestral to keep him alive, and that's a big cooldown that you have to burn there.
We saw that start to take priority towards the end of Western Clash, especially when you look at the high health pool warriors that are kind of so prominent, especially the Garrosh that we saw most notably used against. But as we can see, there's going to be Leoric just able to get away as Honkono coming down. He's lurking around, but Wiz sitting on those 21 gems should be able to establish a turn-in.
I really like what you just added. It's not only that Alpha Wolf in itself is a great talent no matter who you go up against, but if you're going up against the very high hit point heavy tanks that are currently so dominant, I mean, you have Diablo, you have Muradin, Garrosh that you mentioned, then that talent of course gets even more value. So that's absolutely fantastic if you can set the combos up.
It is.
Talking combos, there we have it. Yeah, Misaka immediately has to hop out. That was a close call since Meriday was already here with a follow-up.
Yeah, Meriday's like, can I get in on this action? He's like, look, you guys are getting all the roots, having all the fun. He did get the one to set up that first kill, but now we've got Web Weavers underway here for Blossom. We'll see how much they can get out of this first push as Honkono's still trying to make the plays. Lucky he's going to be rooted.
Lucky though, it's not quite that lucky. Once again, Reina goes down. That's the second kill against him, and Blossom pushing now through the mid lane here with the Web Weavers, and that's exactly what we were worried about in the draft. Do they have the wave clear that they need to defend against the Web Weavers? And so far, it does really not look like it.
Gondar did just use his root on Misaka, unable to follow up there. ZZH able to walk away, but Honkono and team, they're going forward. Melody Z, he's got to be careful. There's going to be another play. The cleanse was used.
Misaka is also in trouble. He needs to be very careful here, and Honkono is already angling for the kill. He's trying to go in, and that's the second one confirmed. Down goes Zeratul and Muradin, and that's an entire level lead already for Blossom, and they're not done yet.
Well, you mentioned that, you got to get Muradin to the late game. You've got to try and get those stacks, and Muradin post 13 and 16 is where he lives. But Caldor, this type of pacing from Blossom is going to make it difficult, and he's had struggles getting that stacked up so far.
Yeah, exactly. Muradin is currently sitting at 6 stacks only, and we're currently talking about 5.5 minutes. That's really not where you want to be. Honkono already completed his own quest. He stacked fully on souls now. We're having also, of course, the level 1 talent on Thrall completed, so Gonda has now the extra charge available. So far, things are not looking pretty for China. SPT is struggling, and at half level that Blossom needs to get 10 could really make all the difference. If they get heroic abilities in the second turn-in, that might be a complete snowball against SPT.
Oh, wow, that penetrating round, trying to buy time. Lucky's trying to get away, but here comes the assault. There's going to be another route. Lucky able to walk away, but Zeratul is not, as another takedown here for Blossom.
And they're doing exceptionally well here right now. This is actually a fantastic play from Blossom, getting kill after kill, 5 against 0, and we're looking at them trying to go for another turn-in. They need a few more gems, but they're absolutely controlling the entire center of the map, and with level 10 abilities now in their hands, SPT has to fall back, but instead we're actually seeing Misaka far out here. He jumps up, but he needs to be really careful. There's so much CC on the side of Blossom, even as Muradin. You can't just simply show up there and say like, hey boys, how you doing?
Honkono is relentless when he plays, and on this Diablo fully stacked, as you mentioned, he can be very proactive. And Caldor, you're pointing out the Thrall heroic of choice here.
Yeah, we're going into Sundering here, so even trying to stack a bit more CC on top of that chain. And if that is just timed well, you can destroy anyone in this setup now.
The amount of CC that they have, I mean, you get the initial lockdown.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, you can start with a Sundering, you can end with a Sundering. I mean, at any point of the game, you can just get in there. Obviously, the Lightning Breath, the control there, and Honkono just moving around, looking for any chance. Somebody steps forward. There's going to be the first one. Here comes the Web Weaver even getting in on the action. There's the Lightning Breath. The Sunder came down a little late, but it doesn't matter. Misaka fell.
Yeah, and here's where the pain comes. You don't have a level 10 SPT, that is. We just lost a hero. We have a 2-level lead already for Blossom, and they're now pushing aggressively through 3 lanes already. Leoric might be able to save the bot lane, but that's about it. The middle is already about to fall here. And this is just devastating. I mean, SPT at least has level 10 abilities now, but this is still a game where it's all about Blossom. If they don't make a massive mistake here, it's going to be tough for SPT to force a fight that brings them back into this.
The way that Blossom has been playing, I'm curious if they're just going to put their foot in the ground, stand, and then try and look for a fight, or whether they're going to try and make more of a play around a boss or a camp. And it looked like they had their camp or the boss in mind.
I mean, once they have 13, they can easily make that play for boss, especially if they maybe push a little bit through the bot lane, push out the wave, and then wait until someone shows and then make the rotation top. They have a lot of control. If you go for the boss fight, you're in a situation where you can easily go for bunker, you have the Lornado at hand. We get Entomb for Leoric. There's one hero that's made a choice yet on level 10.
Hey, look, Jimmy likes to give him some pepper, and you can give him more pepper when you auto-attack faster, and Bloodlust does that.
The only problem that I have with that, I mean, if you look at that setup, I'm just not sure if you get any Bloodlust value, considering that a Sundering can already stop you on the attract. You have the bunker still delay it a little bit, the Tornado too. But here comes the fight, and Bloodlust it is! Not popping it just yet, but having it ready for sure here, as SPT is trying a bit of a Hail Mary move maybe to go back into this. Blossom, of course, delaying it to 13, but they are still willing to take the fight here. Void Prism in the back though, hitting three.
They've got Honkono isolated. He's just trying to get back in, saying, can I get any type of protection at all? And he does get that by way of the bunker. Sunder also comes out as well. Here comes the root, but a nice cleanse there on Lucky.
Going in one again, Misaka in trouble. The follow-up is there, but he's still able to jump out. I have to say though, Blossom is playing this really well, obviously. They are so far ahead here, but there's still quite a few mistakes when it comes to coordination. The Sundering that we've now seen a few times hasn't really gained a lot of value for the team. Even in that last attempt, he didn't hit anything there. It was also trying to save Diablo, but he already had the bunker on the ground, and Diablo could use that to move out. So there was a bit of overlap when it came to rogue abilities. Doesn't matter for this game so far, but it's definitely something that can be exploited later down the road.
Well, for SPT, that fight, it didn't net them the kills, but it netted them some space as it forced Blossom to retreat. Leoric was able to get out, was sitting on quite a few gems, and Honkono goes in instantly. Melody C, but we've got the lockdown with the Entomb.
Entomb comes in and hits 2 here, but SPT is already moving back, not really capitalizing on it with any damage. They got their Web Weavers, but of course they are still the talent behind in the 2 levels. So even from a stats perspective, they are already quite weak here. Their goal has to be drop a couple of walls, get at least a few structures here to start closing that gap, but Blossom is setting up a super nice defense.
Wiz, they're going in. Misaka dives right over Zeratul with the follow-up. Wiz comes in with the stun, and now the rest of the team. There's a Sunder. That's going to hit multiple members. They get the lockdown. They're trying to get more.
And there's the first one. Rhaegar goes down, and that's only the first to fall, since we are already seeing the Riptire coming through. They're going for Lucky again, but he's actually not getting pushed in and might be able to walk away from this, especially with Zeratul immediately falling up with a Void Prism. Misaka, though, trying to buy some time, but immediately locked down. Great space control from Blossom.
Yeah, the Avatar's going to be used. We'll see if he actually makes it out of here alive, and it looks like that retreat might be enough. Soap trying to survive in this 1v1. He is sitting on 46 gems. He's lit it. That's a painful loss.
When you're playing Entomb with the Spider Queen, one of the mechanics that can always bring you back into the game is, of course, a gem mechanic. If you can hold on to them, then even if you're a talent or 2 behind, in the long run, you might be able to get those stagger turn-ins, get the first one, get follow-up with another one, and slowly but steadily, not only get ahead in experience, but also maybe dominate the map. If you lose the gems here, as we just saw, though, then your comeback potential is significantly diminished.
I'm telling you, Caldor, one of the things I'm enjoying the most right now is the return of Merryday. Yes, he's been in the league for 5 weeks. Yes, he's had 7 series under his belt, but for him to make these plays on land, he has reminded people who he is and who he was. That is a playmaker on support, because all of those Lornados, they're making sure he's used defensively. The roots he's had, the Lornado even offensively timed. It's beautiful to watch right now.
Just seeing him on stage here is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's good to have him back for sure, and he's already looking to make these plays again. And talking about the plays, we are seeing Blossom pushing through the mid lane. They want the keep at this point. You're so close to level 16, you want to grab that extra talent, and you try to set yourselves ahead heavily in structures. Bot lane, of course, is going to destroy a fort. The top lane is pushing out as well, but Blossom is 5-manning the mid right now. But they just now pick 16, and this is the moment when you want to make your play for keep.
They really need keep. Anything less than a keep at this point, I feel, would be a loss and allow SPT more time to get back into this. So SPT is actually doing a very good job of holding. It looks like this should fall here momentarily. But now they've got to hold on to the rest, but Honkono says, hold on, what if we speed this bad boy up a little bit? Soap comes in. He's the first to fall. DP's down.
Void Prison is in play. Here comes the Lightning Breath as they're trying to go for it once again. Misaka is the next target here, but the Riptire comes out and is trying to aim for the backline. But a nice play here by Rhaegar. ZZH actually saving a Lucky and Melody C.
Right now, SPT is holding on, but for how long is the top Web Weaver starting to push down that top keep? That 1 keep was great. Now 2 keeps, and we're looking at a 4-level lead. They might just turn their attention directly to the core. They are feeling it right now, trying to take home game number 1.
I'm really liking the synergy with Diablo and the stuns that are coming from Thrall and from Blaze. Very well coordinated here in the late game as they're looking for these kills, trying to pressure SPT even more. They're starting to go for the core here. This is really one of those moments where against other teams you might have fallen back, but the 4-level lead is saying it all already. We're having Blossom with a play for game.
They're just flexing on him right now. They're trying to take down game number 1. They're doing whatever it takes. And right now, SPT does not have the firepower just yet, but without the minions, Blossom, they fall back, wait for the next round of minions, and look for somebody to overstep. Right now, that's Misaka, but he is on Burden. so he's able to survive. But they're trying to play around the minions, and for now they're holding on. They did lose 24% of their core, but the fact that they're still holding on shows their resiliency.
This is one of those situations where you have to question, okay, what do you do if you're Blossom? Do you make the immediate boss play? Do you wait for a few more jumps and get the turn in? Because you're 4 levels ahead, but you also have to think about what could happen for us to lose the game. Do we have to make the boss play right now? We have a massive advantage, but how big is the chance that they can maybe steal away from us? And they're just looking for more fights, and SPT is willing to give them to them. And that's one of those things that's really surprising. If you're SPT, you should not be in that spot.
Lightning Breath going to get the slow, see if they can get the follow-up. Lucky he gets a heal, but I'm pretty sure he's not making it out of here, but that might buy enough time. Lucky he's trapped in a corner. Riptire comes in, gets another takedown. On Kono and team, they're looking for another.
Yeah, they're getting 3 here. First of all, Reina got unlucky, and then we have Muradin blown apart too. Now we're seeing them just moving in for the core. Yeah, 3.5 level lead. Blossom is just looking fantastic in one. It's 12 kills against 0. SPT hasn't taken a single kill in this game.
Well, we had the solo support, or the solo assassin Junkrat, at least range-wise. We do have that throw in there, but it didn't matter. There was so much CC, so much lockdown. The playmaking potential from the CC combos alone for Blossom seemed to be more than enough to get what seems to be more mounting kills, as Hong Kono is relentless. He doesn't care about the core. He cares about the kills, as it ends up being 18-15, 13-0 shutout in terms of kills.
Not quite the start that you want to have with the number 1 going up against the number 4 here. And we come back to that Zeratul pick in the early game. Once we saw the first web weavers coming down, SPT really struggling to hold on to any kind of map control.
Snitch, now that you're back up here, takes on game number 1, and how well Blossom looks.
I mean, what a statement game.
Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Already a very dominant performance by Blossom in the first game against SPT, but of course the Chinese are eager to come back into this. Bit of an unorthodox draft here, more around Zarya, a little bit more down to the Chinese style, with the Cassie coming in, plus Maiev. So let's see if SPT can actually pull this off. It's going to be easy against the strong Koreans.
10 seconds.
Luckily, they have Zarya.
Yeah.
5.
Modern, he's going to be on that Sergeant Hammer. That's the main one.
Was that a gravity pun set up for that completely botched?
No, it's luckily. Luckily.
Okay, my bad. I thought too complicated.
Yeah, we're just keeping it simple here. I really am curious where Sergeant Hammer
That's
will...
an interesting standoff that we have there. Let me start. Okay, dude, like, the best thing is this happens and I turn around and I look at the Koreans and the entire team of Blossom is just laughing. As Misaka moves in, it's like, wait a second, this is weird, why can't I move? Oh my god, there's a hammer there.
There is the thing, like if you run into an invisible hero in a bush, if you run into them and make contact with them, even not being able to see them, the red eye will appear over your head. And he's like, wait a minute, hold on, I've got to throw this down. Hammer gets the knockback though and makes sure not to get tossed over. No unstoppable until level 4.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting setup there. Especially, I mean, if he would have known, right? He could have easily just like stunned Hammer out and flip him over. What I found also very interesting is that there's nobody in the top lane on the side of SPT. They're finally sending Maiev over, but she is also forced to take the safe path because URL interrupted her.
Yeah, that's such a smart play. For solo laners, the best thing to do in competitive is to deny experience from your opponent. Sergeant Hammer sieges up and you deny the experience. So URL could have passed to the right side, but it's a matter of like, look, SPT has to catch this wave. So what you do is you simply have the, hey, I'm going to dismount you so that you can't come up. You deny XP. That's why you see a marginal lead in terms of experience. It's not substantial, but it does add up over time. So small plays like that for a team like Blossom, I think are always fun to point out.
Okay, finally they send also a second hero up to the top lane, because let's face it, if you're Maiev and you go up against URL and Hammer, you just have nothing to say on that lane. So they're bringing Zarya to the top lane to try and deal with that a bit, and at least help out with some range poke. And it was about time, because they already started to use a lot of hit points on those towers. But at least in the bot lane, SPT is starting to do a little bit better.
And we did see some early aggression onto Gondar in the early part, but with SPT, that was because they had the 5-man unsuccessful in that. So they did give up some in the top lane for that attempt, but those are situations that if you don't get those picks and you make those attempts too often and you don't get those picks, then it will come back to haunt you and you'll find yourself behind. And again, you can look at the experience. Obviously, that's going to be soaked up there. But Blossom incrementally is what the better teams can do against some of the less strong opposition, is that you just try and find ways to get small leads, and also you get a pick, and then it just snowballs from there.
I mean, that lineup is just absolutely terrifying, right? So that's definitely one of those things to watch out for here. Behemoth Armor, by the way, taken on level 4 for Reyna, so no fight or flight for him. Instead, really trying to get those extra stacks and the additional hit point pool. Always find it interesting when that talent comes out. Shrimpy was also like trying that out a lot when Reyna started to enter the scene here, but then moved away back into fight or flight and said, okay, I still believe it's just a better talent to take. But from Blossom's perspective, it's interesting that they go for the enlarged hit point pool.
See how much he can get stacked on Garage. Meride again making a large amount of CC to be had for his team. There's going to be the toss in. Gondar, he's in a bad spot, but potions are going to be there. There's the knockback from Urel, keeping everybody alive. SPT continuing to be aggressive. Unable to do so as Modern sieged up behind that wall, poking down in return.
Yeah, Gondar working still on those stacks. And I mean, I give the talent one thing. If you're going for Behemoth Armor over fight or flight, the early game is a bit stronger for you because you get that additional boost of HP. And then, of course, the stacking process continues throughout the later stages. So early on, if you're really trying to win the early game and you feel this is a pivotal part of your strategy, then that's a great talent to take here. And as we can see now, Blossom is taking that early game. Already half a level lead, winning the halftime show here on the first Immortal.
Well, Wiz trying to get their protection, get that armor. There's going to be the toss back in. Gondar caught in again. Modern continuing to poke down. ZZH trying to get away. Surprised we don't have a dragon coming out here to potentially hold on, as so barely able to survive.
Yeah, talk about Hammer though. There are the mines, and he walks straight into that trap. Goes down, Maiev falling. I'm a bit surprised that he even tried to turn on Honkono. He jumped in deep, but he didn't get punished for it. Wiz now, on the other hand, finds himself in a bit of a pickle, but he is, I mean, he's Urel, so he's not going to fall yet, at least not anytime soon. Melody C at least charging down Honkono a little bit and getting a lot done here on the stacking process, sitting at 27 already on his Lightning Fury quest.
Not too shabby. We'll see if they continue to go. Obviously, getting the bonus damage, then getting that extra charge does allow you to poke down in those situations. Single target damage is definitely there. See if that will be enough to turn the tide. But right now, because they push so much in for that defense, this is a very healthy shielded Immortal pushing down bot lane.
And that's a huge problem. You have a Hammer together with that Immortal, and now we're having hovering siege mode any second available to Modern Life. So this is going to be especially rough, since you can't engage into it. You talked about this earlier. We have, first of all, through Merrydale, a lot of lockdown, but then Honkono has the face melt ready. He can always create the space when he has to. This is a disaster for SPT, as you can tell. They are losing the first 4 to the Immortal, and that bad boy is still on 80% HP.
We're looking at keep wall going down here, and if it's not defended well enough, Blossom might be able to snowball this towards 10. Right now, the keep wall responding in melee range. You see Misaka going forward, seeing if he can get any type of flip, any type of control. And that created space.
Look at Wiz, just angering the entire play here together with the Hammer Mines. Soap is thinking about moving in, but even that is going to be rough. They're trying to go for Cassia now, and Melody C is in trouble. Might be able to walk away just barely as Garrosh goes in for the save, but Soap is getting body blocked here by Honkono as we see ETC trying to go for a kill.
Well, that is one tower down on the keep wall. They're looking for a second as they siege back up. Urel is just going to hop on her allies there with that level 4, providing that armor. It's something that we know Urel players, they love to do. Just protect the hammer, protect the Rainer in any case. You can see he's charged up, giving armor over to Gondar as they're looking to potentially turn this fight. Honkono, however, getting caught on the front lines. He's trying to walk away, and that's going to be a takedown there for SPT to get their first one of the series there. And you mentioned the ETC sometimes being squishy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the problem that you have there. I mean, there are good arguments to be made for ETC. We talked about the space creation that he has and how he gives safety to the backline a lot. But if you think about Muradin, he would in a lot of these situations just be a lot more self-sustaining and can also lead with the extra Stormbolt in the CC here. But yeah, that's a bit of the trade-off there. So Honkono needs to be careful. And we know that he likes to be a bit more on the aggressive side oftentimes. So with ETC, you always have to be cautious here. But SPT getting that kill, that is one of those moments where they can start to take a bit of control themselves, and they are using that now to go through the bot lane, at least drop those 2 towers. That's super important going into the second Immortal phase, because We are seeing level 10 being threatened by Blossom now.
Now, generally in this situation, you look at Expulsion Zone being on an extremely short cooldown. Cassia has Valkyrie potentially there. Those are interrupt options towards a mosh pit, and they're on short enough cooldowns, especially the Expulsion Zone, to where it's almost impossible. But if you can get the 10 tier first, it now opens up the opportunity of saying, well, what if we just go ahead and mosh pit now and then just snowball from here? Establish such a large lead that the early mosh pit, if you can get it and catch your opponent off guard and get a couple of kills early game, it might be a chance for him to lock that in.
And there we have the race. If you have Hammer in such a great position with the Immortal spawning to the right side, trying to defend that is pretty much impossible, so you want to go immediately for the race. And this is actually where SPT is now a decent spot. The problem is the level 10, and we have that in now. And right now, if you're the Chinese team, you just have to accept it. You might be even shocking around and trying to get some poke damage against the opponent's Immortal. It's nearly impossible. So they will have to simply accept that the second Immortal is also lost. They just need to try and get level 10 at least for the defense, and that's why we're currently seeing Maiev up in the top lane. Also a bit of a missed move here against Luckily. But as long as they don't fall here and get their heroic abilities, they should be able to defend against this.
You can tell Blossom is feeling it, and it's more Korean style, but BFG picked up as opposed to the other heroic, the Napalm Strike, to where you normally get that just say, look, I'm poking down, poking down, poking down, but BFG, you're looking to execute, and with Mosh Pit on the other side, that's no surprise.
Also, when it comes to stacking process, we have ETC already completing his level 1, the Proc Rock. Super important here, and also very impressively done. Taking the 2 Immortals, of course, helps as well with it. Lightning Fury request on Cassia is completed. And we're talking about Behemoth Armor. We're looking at 23 stacks here, and he's just getting a few more as we're seeing damage coming in against Misaka, but Honkono is also low, and he dies first. ETC is down.
The defense is holding. The Hyperion continues to siege up. Soap just trying to get out of there. He's going to get a hand there from Garrosh. And now Garrosh, he's stuck in the middle. Dragon Queen is out, keeping them all alive. Garrosh is going to survive in this moment. Wiz holding strong for now.
That was actually really well done here on the side of Misaka, like keeping himself alive through all of this, and then Alexstrasza coming in too. That was fantastic play by them. And the kill against ETC is what initiated all of that. That one kill made sure that there was very little frontline control from Blossom, and SPT capitalized on it really well. But I still can't believe Misaka actually survived that onslaught that came his way.
Surprising to look up and see just a 1-level lead, but the way that Blossom has been able to turn it around, or the SPT has been able to survive in this moment, has been very telling. That their resilience is theirs. There's going to be the taunt. Wiz is surviving. Expulsion Zone's going to be there. Stay while and listen. We'll buy enough time. And you can see Cassia almost confirm that kill with a lightning ball.
Merry Day with a save. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. There was like 1 or 2 hit points left on Wiz, and Urel barely survives thanks to the play that we saw from Deckard Kane there. Really well done. But again, SPT is at least putting some work in. They are in the lead when it comes to kills. They're still a level behind. But if you consider how this game started, this is actually not too bad from the Chinese game. This is miles away from what we've seen in Game 1.
The Garrosh taunt in the Expulsion Zone, just trying to isolate anybody. If that's anybody other than Urel, that's a dead hero. But Urel surviving a Merry Day was forced to use a heroic to make the play to keep him alive, and it was barely enough there. The containment disc also another option for the potential Mosh interrupt. And Honkono, see if he can make the big play. Sometimes when you're used to dominating and then you get in this situation, you're like, wait, do I need to make the big play?
This is actually something on the side of ETC that I would really like to see. It's great that you pointed out. He doesn't have to be the massive playmaker here. As long as he buys space for the rest of the team, he can just really rely on his allies to slowly push it in. It's something that we highlighted during the draft here. For SPT, even though they play this game so much better than they did on Tour of the Spider Queen, the big disadvantage is still that talent lead that Blossom just picked up. The level 13 talent coming in as the 30 Immortal spawns gives them a huge advantage heading into this. We're having the race, and that's actually one of those moments where, again, Blossom just has the better rotation here and does extremely well. It's all to the question, is SPT willing to take that fight? Given that it's a Chinese team, normally the answer to that question is yes. It's just simply, can they really get another kill here and work this?
Well, it's all about Misaka and whether he can make that play as he moves forward here with the Garrosh, and he gets the stun, gets the lockdown. Wiz, however, did not go Ardent Defender and said he's going to hold his ground here, getting that 40 armor, but the minute he leaves that heroic is now down. We'll see if he reapproaches, but right now Modern and team are sieging up. Stay while and listen is going to keep 1, 2 members, 3 members locked in. Now we're going to see how the fight comes out as containment just starts.
And the level 13 is a huge trouble. Hyperion comes out once again. Gonda's being chased here, but Melody C has to move back as Wiz comes in for reinforcements. and that Immortal barely survives for now, so the defense is going strong for SPT, but they're still far behind. They're trying to go down to the bottom and maybe race this one. They're actually doing a great job here considering that they are talent down, but they still have to be careful because Blossom is so close to grabbing that objective, and they are able to get it, but the fight isn't over yet.
There's the taunt. Misaka, he's holding on the front. The Indomitable's going to be there. The shield will keep him alive for now as they get hold. Cleansing Flame is keeping multiple members alive, and somehow Misaka, he is 9 lives here in this fight. And Honkono, he's stuck in a position. Here's going to be the slide, seeing if he can find a mosh pit opportunity.
Misaka loves Garrosh, and you can definitely see why. It's unbelievable that he survived again a second time in one of these big fights, but the fight isn't over yet as we are seeing Maiev in trouble. Once again, it's Garrosh trying to save her, but this time the kill is secured as Blossom moves in. 13 talent comes back into the hands of SPT, but the push through the bot lane is strong, and that's the second kill as Misaka finally falls.
Now Blossom will look to siege up and take down maybe not just 1, but 2 keeps as the Immortal will be pushing top. And if things go any bit worse for SPT, they get another pick, and they might be looking for a Wiz goes in. He gets the back over. There's the BFG. They're trying to get the lockdown. That's going to be another takedown against SPT. Blossom, they'll siege up on the keep here. They are taking complete control of this game.
Yeah, they're absolutely dominating this right now. A 2-level lead once again. Talents are the same, but with the keep at the bot lane falling, we're now seeing the Immortal shredding the one at the top. And with that double keep play, Blossom takes a 3-level lead and the talent advantage.
It's feeling very familiar for Blossom to have this amount of lead, and it took them a while to get there, but they have established the same lead that they had in game number 1. SPT, they still have that fighting chance at any moment for Garrosh and team to just find that one pick, find that isolation. That's all they need to get this turned back around. So we know Towers of Doom has crazy comebacks, but I've seen a Dignitas team come back from double keeps being lost before. So we'll see if SPT can recreate some of that magic of their own.
For SPT, it's actually a little bit heartbreaking considering how easily Blossom took game number 1. They did so much better in game number 2, but it was at every step, every objective, they played at a talent disadvantage. First it was level 10, then it was level 13, and that's just a massive problem for them because a lot of the fights they actually controlled quite well, and especially the plays around Misaka and Garrosh allowed him to save heroes over and over again. He himself keeping himself alive after so many resources that spent on trying to secure a kill against him. But now being down 2 keeps, of course, it is not going to be easy. The next Immortal is going to tell how this is going to go. It's all about SPT's ability to find a kill here, and it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't see how they can possibly pick that up unless there's a misplay on Blossom's side.
Well, you can see Soap is trying to find his way into the back. Maryday is saying, look, if you come this way, you are greeted by a root. So you can see the heads-up plays to keep this, but they are sieging up behind the Sergeant Hammer. They now have catapults that are moving forward. The Impalers are there. They bought time. They bought space. And SPT, the entire time they're here, they're just losing control of the map. And the minute this spawns in 10-15 seconds, Blossom will just look to move back, get in position, and look to repeat the last Immortal.
Reyna is also at this point on 48 stacks on his Behemoth armor, so that's another 250 hit points that he nearly secures there, which makes the talent worth 500 HP, which is absolutely crazy right now. The stacking that he gets through just dropping the auto attacks onto mostly Garrosh and Maiev is absolutely crazy. Great value for Gonda here. It just continues as we see SPT setting up the final stand. But once again, Meridan, the 4-man sleep here. Great play by him. Meriday setting it up for the rest of the team. And there's Maiev falling as Reyna just goes in.
Honkono is looking for that big play, but you can see Misaka still trying to hold on as he got the toss back over. Melody C going in deep with the Cleansing Flame. He's going down, but will he survive? And it looks like that's going to be enough for another takedown here against SPT. Nice. That was actually very impressive by Misaka to catch him in the middle of the power side.
But that's the third kill now. Alexstrasza is down, and we're seeing the catapults already homing in on the core towards the left side. Even without the Immortal, you have 3 heroes dead, and Blossom, they don't even go for the objective. They don't have to. They go straight for Garrosh. They drop him as well, and now it's only the core here. This is going to be the 2-0 that so many people expected. SPT was trying to be the team that takes down a Korean opponent, but it's not going to happen.
And Honkono, that guy is probably in every sense a rock star. Like, from fashion to style to play style, that's like the embodiment of Honkono right there. Blossom securing this, but not without a challenge this time around. But you can tell the Korean fans are happy.
Oh yeah, they're definitely happy. This is the one game that they were maybe a little bit worried about. It's the thing with China. They come into the tournament, they show some confidence, they talk about how they identified weaknesses that they worked on, and you never really know what's gonna come out of that region. And when you have that seed coming in and they're saying, okay, we believe we can at least beat Blossom here, you have to at least give them some credit and respect. But now Blossom just shown that with the coordination that they have, with the high mechanics and the decision making in the late game, they were just a superior team in this series.
Snitch, this is your first time, obviously, on the analyst desk, but we know that you study teams globally. You delve deep into several regions to see how things work. But now that you have this take on it, what are things that you look at when you see Blossom here to open the day? What are some of the things that you focus on as a player that maybe other players might be looking at?
I mean, I think it was nice to see some signs of life from the Chinese squad, actually. I think Blossom definitely, we talked about that ETC pick, and I think maybe that was a little bit troubling for them. At certain points in this game, the ETC seems a little bit shaky, and it leads a little bit of, are their drafts going to be as strong as they need to be to take some of these top Korean teams? Because I think, looking at this game, we could be kind of sure at this point if SPT is the Chinese powerhouse, it doesn't look great for China. So I think we're looking a lot more of these Korean versus Korean matchups.
Let's come back to ETC for a second. Do you feel it was the pick? Do you think maybe Meridian would have been the better choice here? Or was it more an issue of Hong Kong maybe a bit too aggressive and looking for a play where he could have just sat back and wait for the rest of his team to push?